It was 1940, and Britain and Russia were almost bankrupt in World War II. The U.S. couldn't send resources because of the Cash Carry Neutrality Act of 1939, until the Lend-Lease Act was passed in 1941. Their new conflict was that the meat would spoil faster than it could be shipped, but Hormel Food Company had the perfect compromise. Spam, born in 1938, was a versatile, slow-spoiling meat product and was packed in portion-sized rectangular cans, perfect for shipping. If it hadn't been for Spam, many soldiers would have become weak or died of malnutrition. In 1941, World War II was at its peak, and Britain and Russia were slowly going bankrupt. They couldn't seem to get sufficient protein to their soldiers. Churchill actually wrote a letter to President Roosevelt asking for assistance. The moment approaches when we shall no longer be able to pay cash for shipping weapons and other supplies. But the U.S. wasn't able to help because of the Cash Carry Neutrality Act of 1939, instilled to keep us from getting too involved in the war. Until March 11th, when the Lend-Lease Act was passed, allowing us to lend, sell, or rent resources to countries in need.
Hi, my name's Steve Nordrum, and I'm a Spam ambassador here at the Spam Museum. I'm one of about 20 people that's our job, is I actually work here at the Spam Museum as a Spam ambassador.
How do you think Spam affected World War II?
I think Spam had a major impact on World War II before the U.S. government military was even in the war. Because the government had a program called the Lend-Lease program, if you're familiar with that. 100 million pounds of Spam was sold to the U.S. government for the Lend-Lease program, and most of that was sold before the U.S. military was even in the war. And so that really helped feed the Russians and the British, and that's before the U.S. got into the war.
After the Lend-Lease Act, they were free to send the resources. The trouble was that they would send ships with meat and protein on them, but the meat would arrive spoiled. They had to find a quick compromise, and luckily Hormel Food Incorporation had just the thing. And that thing just happened to be Spam.
Spam was one of the first products in the country to be canned in what's called a vacuum-sealed, sterilized can. And what that means is that the meat is actually cooked right in the can, and it's now what we call shelf stable. It doesn't need a refrigerator. You can send that can anywhere you want in the world. It can sit on a loading dock. It can sit on a train car. It can do whatever you need to do. You can ship it anywhere. In the Arctic, in the desert, in the jungle, it doesn't matter. You can ship it anywhere, and it's still good to eat when you open the can. And that technology, it's not just Spam. Spam didn't get created in a vacuum. It actually was created around a whole family of products. And all of those products in Hormel was a leader in sterilized vacuum canned products that we would first know as canned ham. That came out from Hormel in the 1920s.
As a USDA meat inspector, what was your understanding of Spam and how it was made and why it was so important to World War II?
It was important to feed the troops so that they had a product that provided nourishment and protein when fighting the war. Because there was thermal processing, they could cook the meat in the can, and with the special qualities of the lid, could produce a seal that would not leak, which gave it a longer shelf life. Another test after the thermal processing was about 1% of a day's production was put in an incubator to test the seams of the can and also if there was a microorganism that produced a gas toxin. The thermal processing and the incubation and the seal all work together to make a safe product to send overseas and feed the troops during World War II.
How long do you think it will last in the can?
Between the USDA and the Hormel plant working together, it was determined that the shelf life was about 2 years at least, but it proved to last much longer than that.
Spam was a versatile meat product with a long shelf life of at least 2 years and was packed in portion-sized rectangular cans, ideal for shipping. By 1943, 93% of Hormel's canned food was sent straight to the front lines, and by April 1945, 100 million cans of Spam had fed hungry soldiers in Britain, France, or Russia.
So my name is Abby. I am the youngest Spam ambassador here at Hormel Spam Museum. So I've been working here for about 5 months now. Spam affected World War II in a really big way because it was sent over to like Russia and the UK. It also helped feed the army of Russia, which is a big deal. It also brought us a lot of world markets like South Korea, Europe, different places everywhere. It might have changed history because Spam was, when it was sent over to Russia, Russia was in really big need of it because it couldn't feed any of their armies. So actually, when you think about it, because we were able to help them feed their armies, they were able to go ahead and keep fighting the war they were in. So we helped them stay alive and keep fighting. So in other words, some people say that we helped win the war. A special thing about Spam is just about like how long it lasts. There's like 15 different flavors and they all last years. It's something people can afford and keep for a while. It's still popular today because to a lot of people it's still kind of a classic kind of thing. It's also really popular because, again, how long it's being able to be preserved, and it's really popular in places like Guam, Hawaii, like islands, because it's a lot less expensive, because like a pound of beef will go for like $10 when a can of Spam will go for about $2. So it's really, available for people to just have and be able to eat. So the man that invented Spam was J. Hormel. The founder of Hormel is George. His son was the one that came up with it in 1937-ish. 1937 was official when it came out. The name comes from spicy ham. So an actor actually came up with that name. So they actually had a deal where the government bought a bunch of Spam from Hormel, and they would sell it. They would not sell it, but they would give it out to the front lines during like World War II and all the other wars.
Spam turned out to be a genius product to send to war, and many soldiers would have died without it. Spam is even still popular today, especially in places like North and South Korea and islands like Guam and Hawaii.
Up here, this is Spam around the world today. Roughly speaking, 2/3 of all Spam in the world is sold right here in the Asia Pacific region. And if you look at this map, so wherever there's a red pin, that's where Spam is sold. What this really represents to me, if we count Hawaii, that would be about right here, right? And this is Australia here. This is where the U.S. military started and reconquest Japanese-held territory in World War II, right? And wherever they went, they brought Spam with them. So today, all of these people in this part of the world in Asia Pacific, they're the big Spam lovers today, and they eat most of the Spam that the world eats. So about 2/3 of it right here. This is South Korea. This is the biggest market outside of the United States today. Maybe more than $200 million worth of Spam sold annually in South Korea. These today culturally are very important in South Korea. These are highly prized gift boxes given out at their two most important holidays. They have a holiday similar to our Thanksgiving called the Harvest Festival. This box sells for almost $80, just under $80. This one's about 70 or 60, and a smaller one. This box gets wrapped like that and put in this bag. These are given out as highly prized gifts to family and friends as a gift to celebrate their Harvest Festival. Hormel sells over $100 million worth of those gift boxes every year.
In 2012, Hormel celebrated their 8 billionth can of Spam sold. Spam is obviously still flourishing, and history has shown that Spam helped win the war.